Hey guys, it's Cindy. Today I'm doing my haul for the rest of the year. I didn't do a November or a December haul, so this is kind of like a mixture of those 2 months. I do have quite a stack. You guys can see it is on my beautiful new book cart that I got around Christmas time, and yeah, I just have it like super stacked up. So I do have the whole thing pretty much filled up with books that I have acquired recently. This is not including any sort of book outlet purchases. I have a couple of boxes that I have to haul. I have another one coming soon. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. I don't even know if I should start from the bottom or start from the top. I'll start with what's visible. I do have probably 40 books here, so I'm not going to go too into detail. The first thing that I have is Snot Girl, and this is Snot Girl Volume 2. I did read the first one a couple months ago and I absolutely loved it, so I had to pick up the second one from Amazon. This is a graphic novel series talking about the girl name, or her name is Snot Girl. She has really bad allergies and she is a fashion blogger, and the first one was like really different. It was like very adulty, but I just didn't expect it to have kind of like a mystery element, kind of like a who did it or what the hell happened, and I wasn't expecting that, so I really enjoyed it and I had to pick up the second one. And this art style is just like beautiful, you guys. I guess I'm just gonna stack them up on the floor. I didn't really think this through. So the next one that I got this recently. This was a early 2018 release, but I went ahead and picked it up. It is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is a YA thriller that I've heard great things about. I'm sorry if my lighting is not doing this book justice. I literally have my box light like this close, like I'm touching it to my face. Can you guys see it right there? Horrible, sorry. But so yeah, went ahead and picked this one up. If you guys see this like little sad piece of paper right here, my little brother drew me a ninja at Walmart, and I just have it like up on my bookshelf. I need to like make an actual space for it and maybe put it in like a little picture frame. So I have a YA fantasy novel. It is To Kill a Kingdom. This is a retelling of Ariel, and I've heard it's really like dark and beautifully written. I don't know. I've never read like an Ariel retelling. I don't read many retellings. I haul them, so hopefully I like them. Then this one is a new release for the month of January. It is The Me I'm Meant to Be. This just came out on the 1st, and it is a kind of like a friendship story. I haven't read it yet, but I really hope that this like is truly a friendship story, because it seems like there is a little bit of drama going on between two best friends, and one of them is romantically involved with like the other friend's next door neighbor, and the main character is like slowly falling in love with the guy, but he's like completely off limits because her friend is dating him. But overall I hope it's like a strong friendship story. I feel like YA books just don't have enough of those these days. So the next 3 I got from Barnes & Noble. Actually, no, that's a lie. I'm not sure. These go in no order, you guys. They're all over the place. So I know I got this one from Barnes & Noble. This is kind of an epic love story. I should hold them on this side. And this is a male-male romance. That's all I really know about it. I saw that Adam Silvera had blurbed it and it was half off. You guys know that there was like crazy deals these past couple of months, so I could not like stop myself. And the next one I've heard really good things about. It is a sci-fi, which is something that I normally do not pick up. I don't know if I'm liking this book cart thing, you guys. I'm so used to like filming my hauls on my floor where I can just like stack up the books, and now like trying to get this organized is kind of a hot mess. But this is Light Years by Cass Morgan. I've heard really good things. I think Books and Lala talked about this because she had gotten an ARC, and I really don't know what this is about, but I've heard it has really good representation in it. And if you can just like look at the cover, it looks like a very diverse cast, which I'm all about. So the next book is one that I heard a lot of things about, I think in either 2017 or 2018, and it is The 7 Ways We Lie by Riley Redgate. One of the main things that I heard about this book is that it has really good representation for the LGBTQIA plus community. That's all I really know about it. I had an opportunity to get an ARC of this once at like a book event, and I couldn't grab it in time, and this girl like literally snatched it from my hands. So ever since then I really wanted to pick it up. This was super cheap on Amazon. Okay, the next book is another YA thriller. I know I don't read many of these often, but for some reason this month they kind of just like caught my eye. This Is Our Story by Ashley Elston. This is Ashley Elston's first book. She did recently come out with a second book. I don't think they're companion novels, but they look similar. This is about a hunting trip that I believe 5 boys take, and one of the boys ends up getting shot and no one knows who killed him. I have heard really great things both from Chelsea Darling Reads and Kristen at Super Space Chick, and they both said that this book is like really beautifully written, and it is super short as well, so that's very exciting. Okay, so a book that I have read is My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren. Christina Lauren have become some of my favorite authors. Like, I really need to go back and read all of the books, but I was actually looking at my Goodreads recently and I read a lot of Christina Lauren this year, and I'm not complaining. Or last year, I guess. I love them. If you are looking for like a romance with a little bit of something extra, not like your typical romance, but just like a really good one, then they are definitely the way to go. This does feature a main character named Millie, and Millie has had like this friend group that is compromised of like only males, and like I really love the friend dynamics in this. It is about 2 friends that set each other up on like blind dates, and ultimately they end up going home together. So cute. I love like the friends to lovers kind of trope, and I really loved, like, even though there was like 5, I think, guys in the same group, and oftentimes like the characters gonna blend together, like in this story you can be like, oh, that's such and such, just by reading what it says. So they really stood out to me, and I really loved this one. Okay, so a couple more paperbacks. I got Queens of Fenburn by Kendara Blake. I do have the 3rd one to this series, which is the 3 Dark Crown series. However, this is like a short novella that kind of bridges the gap between the 2nd and the 3rd book, so I went ahead and picked this one up so I can hurry up and read it and get back into the series, because for the most part I am pretty much caught up with this series, which like never happens. So I need to keep reading it since it is sparking my interest. Okay, next I have like a chick litty, I don't really like, a contemporary fiction novel. It is Surprise Me by Sophie Kinsella, and if I'm not mistaken, this is about a marriage which they are struggling to kind of like keep it fresh and have new ideas on how to like keep their romance going, and it just sounds really cute. I haven't really heard that many people talk about it though, so I went ahead and picked it up on a whim because they had it at my local book outlet. Next I have This Is How It Always Is by Lori Franklin. The main reason I picked this up was because I heard great things about it. I do follow like Reese Witherspoon's book club on Instagram, so I went ahead and picked it up because it was one of her book club picks, and I've heard really good things about it. I don't know what this is about other than it has really good representation in it as well, and I do want to get more into like adult fiction, so that's why I picked this one up as well. I have a new release from a couple months ago, and it is a adult romance, I believe, and it is Until the Last Star Fades by Jacqueline Middleton. I've heard great things about Jacqueline Middleton's writing, and she has a couple of books out, like a couple of series that I've heard a lot of people recommend, so I went ahead and picked up her newest release. Next I have a another adult romance, and it is One Day in December by Josie Silver. I meant to read this in December, I know, so cliche, but I didn't get around to it. I really thought I was going to read this for a readathon that I did that month, but that readathon went to shit real quick. So this is about a girl and a guy that see each other, I believe, before she gets on like a train or a bus, and she just like knows that they're destined to be, and it's about like encounters over their life of them seeing each other again. Sounds really cute. I've heard really good things and people's wrap-ups for the year about this book. Next, I have a book that was given to me by my sister for Christmas, and it is Little Moments of Love, and this is by the creator of Katana Comics. And if you guys do not follow Katana Comics on Instagram, like, what are you doing? They are so cute, and they are this little design here, and it is like a couple and kind of like all the things that couples go through, and it's just filled up with a bunch of different like just little comics that she has posted over the years, and I'm going to slowly work my way through this one, but I absolutely love her page. I've been following them for quite some time now. The next book I have is a YA book, and the reason I picked this one up is because it had to deal with social anxiety, which is something that I myself suffer from, so I wanted to see how the representation was in this book, and it is Paper Girl by Cindy R. Wilson. That's weird because that's my name, and I have heard literally nothing about this, but I am really excited to pick this one up. We're making progress. Not really. So then I have Give the Dark My Love by Beth Bevis. I have Give the Dark My Love by Beth Revis. I've read one other book by Beth Revis, which was A World Without You, I believe, and I liked it. It was quite some time ago though. So I really was in the mood for kind of like a dark standalone fantasy novel with some sort of like magical element. So I hope that this will fix that for me. Next one that I have is No Filter by I think the name is Orla Collins, and I've heard nothing about this as well, but I remember reading the synopsis, and it was just about like kind of like secrets in a romance, as well as like small town living. And that's pretty much all I remember, but it was enough to catch my interest. Then I have a book that literally everyone has been talking about recently, and it is Wild Blue Wonder by Carly Sorosiak, and I've heard really good things about this being a contemporary novel with like a little bit of magical realism, which is like one of my favorite genres. I read Salt to the Sea by Katrina Leno, and that is like one of those kind of books, and I absolutely loved it, so I've been trying to find books similar to those, so I went ahead and picked this one up for that reason. Then I have a book that came out, I believe in December, or November. It is The Resolutions by Mia Garcia. This is about a friend group, and for the new year, instead of them designating themselves with New Year's resolutions, they decide to pick New Year's resolutions for each member of the group. Which I think is super fun. I need to read this one this month, so that way it'll like go with the theme of, you know, New Year in January. I haven't heard that many things about this one. I love the cover, how it just has like friends kind of hanging out. Next, I have a middle grade novel that I have heard really good things about from people that I really respect recently. It is Amal Unbound by Aisha Saeed. I have another Aisha Saeed novel, but I have not read it yet, and this has one of the most beautiful covers I have ever seen. So I really don't know what this one is about, just that it has a Pakistani main character and family. It is a middle grade novel, and those tend to fly by really fast, and like the writing is like really big. But I've heard really good things about this one, and it made me really excited to read it. So the next book I picked up is Love a la Mode. I think this came out in December, and the main reason I picked this one up is because it was about a main character who is a chef that gets sent to, I believe, Paris. And when she gets sent there, she's actually doing a like cooking competition, and I absolutely live for cooking competitions. Like, me and my sister can sit down and watch like hours on end of Chopped, but this was like a baking edition of that, so I was like, yes, I need to read that. Like, it's a book about food, and I guess like teenage love, so I'm like really excited to read this one as well. Okay, the next book is another one that's kind of like a YA contemporary with a magical realism. I've heard really good things about this one over the years. I just never picked it up. It is The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. I've heard great things about this. Like, tons of people have this as like their favorite books that they've ever read, and I don't know what it's about, but I do know that it's very hard-hitting, and it once again has that magical element in it, which I absolutely love. Another favorite of a lot of people's here on YouTube is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I had been putting off on buying this one for so long, mainly because I don't really like sci-fi all that much. But since a lot of people that I love that read contemporary novels really love this one, I figured it was something to look into. So I went ahead and grabbed it. Okay, next I have a nonfiction book. I know. It is Sick by Porichista Kapoor, I believe. And this is about a girl that had been sick for like her whole life, and she kept getting misdiagnosed from multiple doctors, and she ended up finding out that she actually had Lyme disease, which is really interesting. And it talks about like her kind of like impact on her life by like a failed medical system. And like, okay, I have a biology degree. I am thinking about pursuing another degree in the medical field. So this kind of stuff is like my other guilty pleasure. So I'm really excited to pick this one up. It is once again nonfiction, which is something that I don't normally gravitate towards, but I felt like this would be a good way to start reading more of that genre because it is something that I actually like enjoy reading about. Okay guys, I'm gonna move on to the next row. We're already 20 minutes in and I have like 8 minutes left on my battery. So let's do this. Next I have Words on Bathroom Walls by Julia Walton. I've heard this is a really good book about schizophrenia, which I haven't read many of. I picked this up from the library a couple of months ago, but I never got around to reading it. The next book that I have is one getting turned into a movie soon. I believe like in the next couple of months. It's 5 Feet Apart, and it is written by Michelle, no, that says Rachel. I don't know what I'm thinking. Rachel Lippincott with Mickey Dougherty and Tobias Laconis. And I just know that this has to do with cystic fibrosis. And did I just make that up? I believe it does have to do with main characters that have cystic fibrosis, and that they actually cannot be like close to each other because it'll compromise their immune system. And it kind of sounded like a little bit like The Fault in Our Stars back when that was like really relevant, and I wanted to read this before the movie came out. So next I have The Museum of Us, which is another YA contemporary. I know that's like my favorite. I really don't know what this one was about, but I picked it up at HB because it was a good price. You guys know they always get me. Then I got Every Last Word by I believe this is by, yeah, Tamara Ireland Stoned. I picked up another book from her recently, and then I saw this one everywhere talking about how amazing it is. So I went ahead and grabbed it. This is like a really heavy book. Next I have a book that I read not that long ago. Maybe I read it last year actually. It is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. I picked this one up at my Barnes & Noble. They were doing like a half off sale, and this has a ton of awards on it. It is told completely in prose. It is about getting revenge, or like the main character is seeking revenge on the person that killed, I believe, his brother. I read this a long time ago. This is very fast because of course it's told in prose, but it is very beautifully told. This is the only Jason Reynolds book that I've picked up, but I want to read more of him in the future. So next I have a YA fantasy that came out a couple of months ago, I believe, almost a year ago actually. It is The Bells by Danielle Clayton. I've heard great things about this. I believe there is a second book coming out soon. I love this cover. It is about a story where like everyone is, I believe, either colorless or non-beautiful, and there's like a set of girls that bring beauty to the world, which are the Bells, and we follow the perspective of one of the Bells. Next I have another hard-hitting YA contemporary. It is Picture Us in the Light by Kelly Loy Gilbert. Once again, I've heard really good things about this one, so I picked it up. And then I have I guess this is like a YA mystery. I'm not really sure what category this is, but it is Sadie by Courtney Summers. Of course, I had to pick this one up. I've heard such great things about it. It was on people's like favorites of the year. And they had it, I believe, half off at Barnes & Noble, so I picked this one up. Then I have another YA fantasy. It is Dry by Neil Shusterman and Jared Shusterman, which is his son. I got the Barnes & Noble special edition because it was half off as well. This is about kind of like a very extreme drought that happens in California where there's no water or anything left. I'm very hesitant to read books like this because I am someone that always has water like everywhere, so I'm always afraid of like running out of water. So I don't know how I'm going to do with that book, but I've been told that like it reads very realistically. Next I have The Light Between Worlds, and this is by Laura Weymouth. This is about like the group of kids that return back from Narnia. When I read the synopsis of this, I really thought it was very similar to Shawnee Maguire's books, the Wayward Children or Wayward series. So I'm interested in reading this and kind of seeing like the difference between them. So next I have This Tiny Perfect World by Lauren Garibaldi. I don't know much about this, but I believe what caught my interest was that it has a main character that is on the A spectrum, I believe. And I absolutely love this cover as well. That is like such a beautiful cover. So next I have another YA fantasy. It is The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron. Okay, I got out of memory. I only have like 10 minutes left, so we're gonna fly through the rest of these. I just knocked down half of the books onto the floor, so it's going well. Then I have Pride by Evie Zaboy. This is a Pride and Prejudice retelling. I've heard really great things about Evie Zaboy. I have not picked up any of her previous works yet. Next I have Jack of Hearts and Other Parts by Elsie Rosen. I saw someone recently haul this one and it really caught my interest because it looked like a very diverse read. Then this book I picked up because it was on clearance for $3. And I saw that it had been blurbed by Meredith Russo, which I absolutely love. And it is Miles Away From You by A.B. Rutledge. I have heard little to nothing about this. It is about trauma and loss, which is going to be a very hard-hitting book. But it is a very short one, so we'll see how it's done in like such a short amount of time. I think it's only like 250 pages. Next I have The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. I actually think this was a book outlet book. I don't know how it got onto my cart. And this is a retelling of The Ghost of Christmas Past. I'm not really sure what actual like story that is. It's like with Scrooge and stuff. Clearly I haven't seen it. But I was supposed to read this again in December but didn't get around to it. Look at my beautiful book cart just getting smushed by bugs. Next I have another kind of sci-fi book. Oh my god, I'm like so sci-fi lately. I've read like, or now I've picked up like 3. This is The Disasters by M.K. England. I really picked this one up because 1, the cover is gorgeous, but 2, because it was talking about, or it mentioned something about a very funny friend cast, and I love like really funny like friend groups. I believe like sometimes I can go with like a boring plot if the characters like are so funny and entertaining themselves. So I really hope, well, I hope the plot is interesting, but if it's not that interesting, I hope that the characters really bring this story together. Next I have Odd One Out by Nick Stone. This is a story featuring, I believe, a bisexual relationship, which is really cool because we don't get a lot of that in YA novels. I've read Dear Martin by Nick Stone and I absolutely loved it, so I was very excited that she had a new one. Then I got an anthology. I believe this came out in December as well. It is Dear Heartbreak, and this is edited by Heather Demetrios, and it has like a bunch of really great authors like Becky Albertalli, Yayas King, Nina LaCour, Zendaya Manon, Evie Zaboy, Libba Bray, and it basically has actual young adults, like teenagers, writing letters to their favorite authors about like heartbreak and relationship, kind of like experiences in relationships, not like just the good stuff but the ugly stuff too. And it has like the authors responding. I've heard very mixed things about this anthology overall, so I'm not really sure what to think of it. Then I have Hearts Unbroken by Cynthia Ledick Smith. I have not heard of her before and I really don't know what this book is about, but I went ahead and picked it up because it caught my eye at the bookstore. I still have more books, you guys. These are like all of my bigger books, like in height wise. I have The Devil's Thief by Lisa Maxwell. I picked this one up once again from Barnes & Noble. It is an exclusive edition. I picked this one up because it was half off. Barnes & Noble's half off sales are fucking amazing. I usually never shop there, but when they have half off sales, I go a little crazy. Okay, I'm going to try to get through this as fast as possible because now all of my battery is dying on top of me not having memory. Okay, so yeah, I had The Magician, so I went ahead, or The Last Magician, so I went ahead and picked up The Devil's Thief as well. Luckily, I'm almost kind of done. So next I got Muse of Nightmares because Amazon had it half off. Do I own the first one in this series, Stranger Dreamer, which I had to look at? No, but I plan on picking it up soon enough because I heard that the writing is very beautiful and like whimsical, and that was enough for me. I don't even, like, I haven't even read anything from Laini Taylor in the past. Okay, the next book that I have is Girls of Paper and Fire. Also picked this one up at Barnes & Noble's when it was half off. This is by Natasha Nagan, and I've heard great things about it. This is their exclusive edition as well. Another YA fantasy that I didn't pick up last year but I really wanted is Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. I believe this is kind of like a, my arm got stuck, kind of like a Evil Queen retelling. I've heard great things, and this apparently is a series, so this is book 1. Next, I picked up a book that I really wasn't planning on getting, but it was like 20% off that day, and it is Hunting Prince Dracula. And the reason I wasn't planning on getting this was because I have tried to read Stalking Jack the Ripper like 3 times, and every single time I have not read it. But I've heard such great things about this series, and I am determined to actually finish that book because I think I'm actually going to really like it because it has a lot of like elements that I like, as forth as like the autopsy like kind of stuff. So they had this one there for only like $9, so I went ahead and picked it up because honestly Prince Dracula kind of like catches my interest even more. Okay guys, I'm not sure how much the angle has changed, the lighting. It's been about an hour. My camera completely died. I had no batteries charged. I have about 5 minutes left on my memory cards. I'm going to go ahead and go through the last couple of books that I have. I do have quite a few adult books to share. I'm going to start off with my book of the month picks for the month of December. So the first one that I got was An Anonymous Girl by Gira Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen, and this is about a I think a psychiatrist or a therapist that either becomes like sort of obsessed with a patient, or like something about her actions towards her clients is like a little questionable. So it sounds really interesting. I still have not read, I believe, The Other Woman, which was by them as well. Then my second pick was a fantasy book, which is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I've heard great things about this one, so I figured I'd go ahead and pick it up for book of the month before it sold out. The next book that I have is actually a Christmas gift. It was a Christmas gift from Carlos, and it is Unbecoming by Michelle Obama. I'm super excited to read this one. I've been holding off on buying it because he said he was going to pick it up for me. And Michelle Obama is actually coming to Atlanta. I wish I could go see her, but her tickets were sold out incredibly fast. So once again, this is a nonfiction novel, which I'm trying to get more into. I've heard such great things about this. I'm so excited to pick it up. The next book that I have is also a nonfiction book. It is Educated by Tara Westover. I've heard really good things about this, and I actually follow like a couple of different like Instagram accounts, as well as like I look into like celebrity recommendations, and one of the people that I really look into, other than like Reese Witherspoon, is Barack Obama recommendations, and he gives like a list at the end of the year of the books that he like thoroughly enjoyed the most, and this was one of them, so it caught my eye. Next, I have another nonfiction novel. I know, who is she? And it is The Last Black Unicorn by Tiffany Haddish. I haven't heard that great of things with this. I've listened, and by listened I mean my sister read to me as I cleaned my room, the first 35 pages, and it was really interesting. Of course, it's like really crude humor. It's Tiffany Haddish. But I've heard that she's actually like very unjust towards certain groups, towards like the plus size community and like a disabled person in her life. I haven't gotten to that part of the book yet. Of course, I've only read a couple of pages. So we'll see how I feel about it towards like the end or once I finish it. And I don't know, I've seen her in a couple of movies. I think she's really funny. Next, I have another book that is a nonfiction. It is I Might Regret This by Abby Jacobson. It has essays, drawings, and just like a bunch of stuff. And I saw this one because it was like half off, I think, on Barnes & Noble, and I was getting more into like nonfiction and stuff. And it has just like tellings of a girl that does a road trip, and it has like pictures and different stories and stuff, and it just sounds really interesting. I haven't seen this spoken about anywhere, so I decided to pick it up. And then I have two adult mystery thrillers. I'm not sure what either one of these is about, but the first one I got because it was Reese Witherspoon's pick for like one of the months, and it is The Other Woman by Sandy Jones. I believe this is like a domestic thriller, which I'm really into, and I don't want to know anything about it. I like going into my thrillers not knowing anything. Then I have a new release thriller from last year. It is The Death of Mrs. It is The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware. I've heard really great things about this. I have not read any of Ruth Ware's previous books, even though I do own a couple of them. But this one was at Half Price Books, and it was only $9.99, and for an adult hardback, that is a really good price. Okay guys, so thank you guys so much for watching. That was my very troublesome haul. My battery died a million times. I had no memory. It was just kind of a hot mess. But thank you guys so much for sticking towards the end. If you guys have read any of these or picked them up, or if you want to buddy read them, let me know in the comments down below. And I will talk to you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.